Good morning. It's Tuesday, March 18th, 2025. Lovely spring day. This is Training Wheels, a 1 hour jaunt through A Course in Miracles daily lessons through a book that I wrote called Training Wheels. I'm Amy Heibel, and this is Cindy Krupp's An Open Door. It's a wonderful website where we all gather together to discuss the single truth as it expresses itself in a multitude of ways. So, if this is your first time, or your fifth time, or your 50th time, know that you're welcome. And whether you're listening live or later on, we're happy to have you here. We are on lesson 25, which is I do not know what anything is for. And what I'm going to do is read through the first 24 lessons, and then we'll just listen to a little bit of background on what this lesson really means. And then we're going to work through the exercise together. And so I invite you to mute yourself. And if you'd like, you can turn your screen off, and that way you can just sit and really focus. I'm going to turn my screen off so I don't have to worry about what's going on in the background. And let's just meditate together on the first 24 lessons and see how working together they inform the 25th lesson. Nothing I see means anything. I have given everything I see all the meaning it has for me. I do not understand anything I see. These thoughts do not mean anything. I'm never upset for the reasons I think. I'm upset because I see something that is not there. I see only the past. My mind is preoccupied with past thoughts. I see nothing as it is now. My thoughts do not mean anything. My meaningless thoughts are showing me a meaningless world. I'm upset because I see a meaningless world. A meaningless world engenders fear. God did not create a meaningless world. My thoughts are images I have made. I have no neutral thoughts. I see no neutral things. I am not alone in experiencing the effects of my thoughts. I am not alone in experiencing the effects of my seeing. I am determined to see. I am determined to see things differently. What I see is a form of vengeance. I can escape the world by giving up attack thoughts. I do not perceive my own best interests. I do not know what anything is for. I do not know what anything is for. Today is one of the last lessons in which you will be asked to experience the confusion of the ego. It's very difficult to admit that we are confused because it can leave us feeling open and vulnerable. We will not stay in this place very long, but it is crucial for you now to see the personal mind for what it is. A Course in Miracles defines the ego as the entire self we think we are, a separate entity, a separate mind, a separate physical body with its own separate will, its own personal past, its own personal present, and its own personal future. If we are to know the true self, the mistaken identity of the egoic mind and the egoic thought system must be exposed. Who we are is an eternal aspect of the whole, forever linked with each other and with our Creator. Awakening to your true self is why you are here. Who in their right mind would choose to remain asleep in this illusion? Or as a former teacher once asked me, how's it working for you? When your true nature goes unrecognized, the illusion is confirmed and treated as reality. If you believe the illusion is reality, you will never see the purpose of anything. If you cannot see the purpose of anything, you cannot know what anything is for. It's that simple. When you see only with the ego, you see only the personal, only the separate, and the most superficial. You see only the stone skipping across the surface of the pond. A total of 12 minutes is asked today in 6 sessions of 2 minutes each. This is how mind training affects true change. You are literally rewiring your thought system. So sit in your seat and keep your eyes open as you look around. You can relax now into your breathing. When you're ready, say in your mind, I do not know what anything is for. And then slowly and gently look around the room. Let your eyes rest on whatever catches your attention within the room or outside it, whether it's human, whether it's a plant, whether it's an object. There's nothing important or unimportant. Just look around. Let your eyes rest on whatever they see, and then apply the lesson to it. For example, you might say, I do not know what that tree is for. I do not know what the sky is for. I do not know what the wind is for. Let's do this for about 5 minutes, and then I'll bring us back, and then we'll discuss the lesson. Just be easy about this. Let whatever arises arise and don't overthink it. Take a moment now and just close your eyes. Just relax and savor the exercise and what it has shown you. When I know that I'm the awareness in which all arises, how does this change what I perceive around me? The Course in Miracles says, ask to be taught and do not use your experiences to confirm what you have learned. Ask to be taught and do not use your experiences to confirm what you have learned. This exercise is meant to just gently open your mind. As we said yesterday, it's a slow detangling or untangling from the egoic thought system. Come on back and let's talk about how this lesson was for you. In a way, this lesson for me was difficult because I almost had to backtrack in order to apply it. I have been training myself to see everything as just arising as it is. Right? And so to say, I don't know, what this pencil is for, there's a little bit of a, well, duh, that comes with that. But still, it is good to go back and remind ourselves. Cindy, thanks for being here. Good morning, everybody.
Feel like I'm living in a little bit of it, so I want to just share what's alive. And um, I woke up last night at some point, and I glanced at my phone, and um, there was a immediate reaction, a contraction to something I saw, and it was so interesting. I knew exactly what was happening, and there's no like the details don't matter. But last night, I woke up. And it was an odd time that I woke up, not a normal in the middle of the night time. And I almost never look at my phone when I wake up in the middle of the night. It's a habit I had gotten out of, but I watched myself do it. There was something there, and there was a contraction and a knowing exactly what it meant last night. I knew exactly what it was. And it was so interesting. Um, and I sat with it for quite some time. Well, I don't know how long. I went back to sleep, but it was very disturbing. It activated the thinking mind. I watched it spiral a little, and I kept asking to be shown differently. I kept recognizing that the sense that I needed to defend myself wasn't just like I've learned that when I feel like that I need to defend myself. That was the feeling. Like, fuck this, I'll never get it right type of feeling. Um, but it felt real with every ounce of my being. And I fell back to sleep. And I woke up and I started doing my day and it was there again. And I brought it back to that sense of not knowing what anything's for. And eventually I went back to what I had seen in the middle of the night. And it was not at all what I thought it was in the middle of the night. I had an entirely different response to it. And all of that took place before I went into my diet this morning. And when I was in my diet this morning, what what I was looking at was this sense that I can't trust my perceptions, or at least my immediate perceptions.
Mm.
That whole experience is very alive in me, and it was it's such a short period, and it boom 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 that this idea that my first response to something isn't is colored by my expectation of what it is and not what it actually is. And how sitting and it was so uncomfortable last night, and it was so uncomfortable watching the mind spin with it this morning, but allowing it, you know, to all unwind. by the time I went back to it, it wasn't at all what my response to it was. So, and then the disturbance around understanding that I can't, that I shouldn't, or that I can take a pause before I trust my response. Um, it's all still alive. So I'm just putting it out here because
Yeah.
it feels really appropriate, and I'll leave
Thank
it at
you.
that.
Thank you. Rana, and then Michelle.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm grateful to be here. I could relate to what Cindy was just talking about. Anytime somebody sends me a text and says, "Could you give me a call?" Immediately, the mind just whips into, what is this about? What did I do wrong? What are they going to ask me to do? Oh my God, you're not going to want to do, there's just a flurry of it. And I'm not wrong because that happens. It just happens. It's how the mind works. And so there's a real freedom in letting go of that judgment for being bad for thinking that. It's about that noticing right there for me. And it never turns out to be the story the mind has conjured. Never. 99% of the time. And what happened for me during the meditation experience while you were speaking, Amy, there was a point in your speech that talked about a connection. And I don't know exactly what you said, but what happened was, the only thing I can describe is it was a Mandela and I've never had something like that pop like that, but it was like all those triangles coming from a big triangle in the center and everything kind of connected. It was just like this bang, this flash, So I feel excited to share that. That felt like something beyond what was, being looked at. And I read a quote this morning about, in Regina's Gentle Healing, faith is the antidote to doubt. Have faith that there is more than a lifetime of perception that memory points to. I'm always dragging memories and thinking I know what everything means, and it all fills in the story before I allow and be open and allow something fresh to happen. So it's such a great reminder this morning for this one here. And I'm going to take that through my day. Thank you.
Thank you. Michelle.
We are so powerful. And Amy, I love your share that that this journey is a slow, gentle detangling from the egoic thought system. I love that. And I love I hear you emphasizing the gentle. And that's so important to me. Because I feel like, first of all, this is one of my favorite, I love this lesson. And I feel it a lot. Yesterday, there was a situation that it's like a Groundhog Day situation. I was like, I cannot believe this is happening again. But I felt a gentle energy. I felt a peace, which was very new. And in my heart, I really, I don't know if I said this lesson to myself, but I say it a lot. But I felt this yesterday, um, as Cindy and Rana just shared, it's so interesting how we can look at something and experience something. And I feel like I'm a somewhat of a reactionary person. And so to just dial that down and remember, hey, we are so powerful and loved and beloved and source and spirit with this. There's such a benevolence and a gentleness, and this looks crazy and horrific and ridiculously redundant, but I don't know what anything is for, and it's going to be okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
That's beautiful. Thank you very much. Bernardo Kastrup has this, he has this analogy, is it an analogy, I guess, where he describes the apple blossom on the apple tree. Cindy's going, yeah, I know. So anybody jump in. If I get this wrong, just jump in, and then David and then Livy. But the apple blossom thinks that it is just the biggest and best and most beautiful and wonderful thing. And it smells gorgeous and it looks beautiful, and it's white and pure, and there aren't any other apple blossoms. It's the only one. And it wants to stay on that tree forever. It never wants to fall. It never wants to let go. It never wants to pass into an apple. It just thinks it is the only thing. And he uses that example just to show two things. One is just how we get so stuck thinking this is all there is and we can't see beyond it. But also to show that even death, all of it, change, is part of a larger pattern. And he calls it nature. He talks about he's a philosopher and an artificial intelligence expert. So he sees things that are in mathematical terms that we don't see. And Jenny Beal was actually talking about patterns as well the other day. And I had an amazing synchronicity with Bernardo Kastrup and Jenny Beal and these pattern things. Kastrup says that synchronicities are when parts of the pattern just come together and intersect. And we just get a glimpse of the intersection of the patterns. But that the larger patterns are so far beyond our ability to interpret or recognize them that we don't even know they're there. So when I say I don't know what anything is for, that's part of just the impossible task of recognizing patterns. Right? But as Michelle said, having faith that they're there, right? And that they're all in my own best interests, right? All of them. David, you going to read your piece to us? I hope you will.
I could. You think that's a good thing? All right, I'll do that. So to preface that is, I've been really depressed lately. I mean, big time, stay at home, hiding in my man cave, depressed. So I'm taking a look at that. So this is one of the things those things I wrote to take a look at it. If I want and need to have something in which to believe, which will allow me to feel a little better, and I am bombarded with half-truths and outright lies by schemers and telephone and media screamers, what am I to do? If what I hear is 2 + 2 = 5, like was told to the proles in the book 1984, my head in the sand and shouting na 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 so loudly that I can't hear or see anything, and how about so loudly that I can't see or hear anything, how about researching what I read to hear? Or maybe I should have said need to hear. This will involve some additional work, but it seems to me that to keep informed is to be forewarned and forearmed and less susceptible to the liar's bullshit. And when we were doing that exercise we just did, you know, what came to me is not, I don't know what this pencil is for. I don't know what this book is for. I don't know what life is for. And it seems like, and I made up some reasons for what life is for, but I don't believe them. I think it's, you know, that's my liar's bullshit. And so, and I feel very sad about that because I feel like I should be able to know what life is for. And I know, I'm sure that's a separation thing. You know, here I am all by myself. I should be able to figure everything out, and I can't figure everything out. And it's really sad because it's sad because I think I should be able to do the things that I shouldn't even. And like Michelle said, I should have faith that things will be what they'll be, even if I can't figure them out. But I don't seem to have that faith, at least not right now. And it's, you know, and it bothers me a lot. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you for that honesty. I think it's perfectly okay to say, I don't know what life is for. You have to start there, right? You have to start from the confusion. You got to get it out there. Right. And it doesn't really do much to say, the egoic mind doesn't know what life is for. That's kind of like a pat answer, isn't it? So sometimes the only thing to do is sit in the question and sit with the feeling.
Yeah, and the fact that I'm here, I'm talking about it, you know, I'm writing about it, I'm working on it. That, I mean, that's a start. And so,
It is a start. And the truth is, the question doesn't last, right? The question comes and it feels like it's the only thing in the world. Like the
no,
confusion the confusion is so total that you'll never get out of it.
yeah. But when I look at it and bring it out into the light, and you know, and the light of knowing and flowing and going shine on it, it's like, oh well, this is just a thing. I can deal with this.
Yeah, the question comes, it feels like the dark night, and it absolutely does. And maybe this is the wisdom of getting older, the wisdom of inquiry. We know it's not going to last. There will also come a time when you feel like you know what everything is for. You're totally happy with it. Isn't that amazing how it changes? Michelle says, haha, blame acronym. That's from Livy. Should have already mastered everything. Yes, I experienced that. Right. We love you, David. We're right here with you. And that is true. Livy.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, David. I woke up yesterday overwhelmed, and today I'm still kind of experiencing that to the point it was like, I'm just not going to get on training wheels. I'm just going to, you know, I need to do this, I need to do that, I need to do this. And so there's a lot of discomfort and anxiety and stemming from the overwhelm. And, you know, some of it stems from going through just, I've finally been able to, it took about a year after my dad passed for me to even take his things out of the freezer. You know, he lived with me for 11 years, and now I'm going through a lot of his stuff and making this, you know, and this is just the perfect exercise that I don't know what anything is for, because there's a box of his different plaques and things and I'm like, what do I do with these? And finding letters that, and just all these different things and do I save these for somebody? Do I just throw them away? What's the best thing to do with this? And, I called a sister and said, hey, do you want to go through some pictures? And she was like, no, that's okay. Just set and so it's kind of like, so I'm feeling, and everything is kind of in disarray, and it's the thought of I'm not going to be okay until my place is not such a shit show like it is right now, in my opinion. And so I am so far away from the present moment. I'm really far away from the present moment. And so it's, and I think about Sandra's pointing of not applying words to describe things as well, and just see things as they are without the history attached to it. And the tree exercise has helped a lot, to be able to look at a tree without any history to it and just see a tree and just see that. And so it's, the body is experiencing the sensations of anxiety and wanting to rush through to get to the next, the next thing. And I don't even know what the next thing is. It's just got to keep moving. Let's do something. Don't stop and do that. Don't stop and get on training wheels. Let's keep moving. Let's go to the next thing. And so it's just incredibly uncomfortable to be in my skin right now. And to recognize that and to shine the light on it here and to let y'all know this is what's happening. And so, yeah, I listened to Rubber Meets the Road again last night, and that was helpful. And it's so interesting to me, and it's sort of along the lines with what Cindy shared about her phone call. Because what I heard on Rubber Meets the Road last night was so different from what I heard initially when I was on the meeting. Because I was eating while I was on the meeting, because I needed to be somewhere, which I maybe really didn't need to be, but just had that, the body's going, you need to be moving, you need to be moving. And what it needs to be is just where I am and to be still. And I knew that I would get that, especially at the beginning of this meeting. And I think a good sob would be really wonderful about now, or just a really good belly laugh, just to allow the body to release some of this high energy and be able to use this high energy for good. And if I'm going to have this much energy, let's do something positive with it. And so it's just an interesting place to be right now. And I'm glad that I'm here. And again, I look forward to hearing this meeting again later on today and hear things. That's just amazing to me, how that works. So thank y'all for letting me just like open up my body and just rip my clothes off and say, here I am. Saggy tits and all, here it is. And I know that may have been TMI, but that's just what's happening. So thank y'all so much for letting me do that.
I just love that we can just say, the shit has hit the fan, or whatever it is, I just feel like crap, or I feel like the egoic mind it's right there, it's right in front of me, and that's how I'm perceiving everything through. I think that's just great that we can all say this and not pretend that there's something else.
Right.
It's this kind of honesty that wow, that's how you feel now. You know, when we're explaining it, that is the now, that is the moment, right? So I think it's great. Thank you for that. Thank you for starting it, David. Thank you, Livy. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Cindy, for also starting it with your cell phone call. And now maybe Rana will continue it. Let's see.
Thanks. I just want to reiterate for myself, because I was listening and could feel the energy that, or the memory of having that energy of not being able to sit still, of the mind saying, do this, go here, do that. And I want to just say it out loud for myself, is in that moment is where I need to sit down and sit still just for a second. Because it's okay to be experiencing that big burst of energy. But in the doing, I'm not really feeling it. And so it sort of just keeps perpetuating the momentum and all of that. And in any moment of stillness, right, there's a new moment next. So to allow that high energy to be there without having to change it. This is for me to, you know, oh, it's a moment of high energy. What can I do to alleviate it? It's like, no, Rana, just sit and feel it just for a second, you know? And the mind does not like doing that. It doesn't, because it says that's not the problem. No, if I get all that done, then I'll feel better. But then there's the challenge, right? This isn't necessarily about feeling better. It's more about accepting what is here now, and it's not wrong. I'm not wrong for being in this high energy thing. So that was for me and for whoever else wants to take it. Thank you.
I want to say something, Rana, 'cause that's really, I mean, boy, that is number one, is learning how to sit with uncomfortable feelings. That is just, most people never get there.
It's been a game changer for me.
Yeah. Yeah. And that way you're not reactive. Because if you're reactive, you're just perpetuating the whole energetic movement. You're just perpetuating the unconscious movement of energy. So Zoe, my first real teacher, said, and I've said this before, we're moving from computer program B to computer program A, which is the original underlying program. Computer program B is the program of the egoic mind, right? And program A is the underlying program that's been running silently, but B thinks it's in charge. And she said, we have to shift from computer program B to computer program A, even while B is running, which is partly what makes this such a challenge. So when we, first of all, sense and sit with these feelings of extreme discomfort, that's the first step. But then going back into computer program A, which is the ground of being, and watching computer program B run while we are in the foundation program of A, which is looking at it, watching it, coming back to the ground of being, knowing that I am the one who is, in which all of this is arising. That's the key. So just wanted to add that to what you said. And sometimes when the energy is so high that it's all we can do to sit with the energy. There, a lot of times when it's like, I can't get to the ground of being, right? I can't get there. The only thing I can do is feel this move, right? But if we stay with it long enough and feel and let it move, really just let it move, then we will always come back to program A and that ground of being. Sometimes we don't have time. Sometimes the world is asking too much of us. And so, the baby's screaming or the person in line next to us is asking us to move ahead, but the more we come back to program A, the more we carve that pathway and get used to grounding, get used to that feeling of being grounded in program A, the easier it is to make that shift, right? And that's why this is mind training, because it will take us all of our lives. It's the mind training never ends. Very few of us get it back into program A and just don't have program B running at all. It's always going to be running, right? And it's not the little self that stops program B, right? It's the greater consciousness that Paul Selig is talking about, right? So the only thing that I can do is recognize I'm program A and do that while program B is running. Right? We have to walk and chew gum at the same time. Thank you. Thank you for listening to that technical explanation of Patricia. Thank you.
Thank you. It may be a technical thought, shall we say, but it makes good sense. So thank you for that, Amy. It's wonderful to be with you all, per usual. This is so coming together with you all is so grounding for me. It's grounding into what isness. And, I've been struggling a lot. What else is new? And what's happened since I've joined an open door, an awakening together, is that the shit's coming forefront. It's here. Oh, goody. I can't wait to deal with it, I say facetiously. But in a way, I am looking forward to dealing with it. So I thank you for these opportunities to wake up one more time to what is inside myself, how to find, yesterday, Cindy pointed out, and I'm so appreciative of it, that I come from a place of life is hard and it is difficult. Okay. But how do I change that thinking into something that is more open? Just by letting go. Just by letting go and surrendering it to the divinals, as I call them. Please take this right now. I've done enough self-inquiry. I need a break. It's not all about me, getting out of the way. So I really thank you all so much for being here. What a wonderful Sangha I belong.
Oh, so good. Yesterday, my husband took our daughter's dog for a walk. And it's spring, of course, and he went out onto this golf course that's surrounded by woodlands. And he thinks, oh, this is great. I can let her off the leash because she loves to run. She just loves to run. Oh my God. Running for her is like pure being. So she gets wind of a deer and she goes out of her mind. She's gone. She's off. He calls me a half an hour after he's left for the run and he says, Layla has taken off. I don't know where she is. She's a fool around cars. She doesn't know anything about cars. She could get hit. he was thinking we'd have to call our daughter and say, I'm sorry, but you know, your dog has been killed while under our care. You know, she took off after a deer and he was like, damn it, I'm never gonna, why do we agree to watch her? Blah, 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 blah. All of that went through. But I realized Layla just gets wind of the deer, just like the egoic mind gets wind of the thought, right? And then it's like, gotta get that deer, you know? I'm just running. I'm off. I don't even know where I am. It's just deer, you know? And that's exactly what the egoic mind does, right? And then it wakes up like 10 hours later. What the F? Where am I? You know, hopefully I've got a chip and somebody will know how to get me home, you know? Right? It's just the same thing. The egoic mind is just going to do what it's going to do. It's going to chase that thought down because it thinks that once it catches that thought, it will have won the whole game, right? It will get the gold star. It's never going to catch the thought. Right? So it's, as Rana says, just sitting down for a moment. As Patricia says, sitting down. Woo, man. I just thought I was going to catch that deer. That deer doesn't even exist. If it does, it's long gone, right? Okay, I'm in the woods. I don't know where the frig I am. I'm in the woods. It's okay. I will find my way back. It's not even I will find my way back. The big S self knows exactly where I am, and it will come and it will ground me. I don't have to do anything. I think I'm lost in the woods, but I'm actually right here, right now. And that is the center of everything.
We want the rest of the story.
So I call him back and I say, you know, if you want me to, just give me a holler and I will, I'll get myself together and I'll come help look for you, with you. So, I hadn't looked at my cell phone, but he had like 20 minutes later, he had found someone, she went onto the golf course. Someone found her. She had her tags with our phone number. He got the call. He said, I'll meet you at the golf course. And he went and found her. And meanwhile, Layla's just like, hey, I can chase the deer. Someone will find me and get me home, you know? So that's the end of the story. She's here. But I will say we had well, no, I'm not going to even go there. That's the end of that story. I was going to tell you another story that doesn't matter. Richard, much more interesting. What have you got to share?
My father-in-law, I love it. I love you all. Thanks for all you sharing. You don't know how much that helped me deal with what I'm dealing with. So, with regard to the dog story, I found it interesting. My thought was it's more like spirit than the ego because we're letting the spirit loose. We don't care what the world thinks. We're just being ourselves. We're being the love that we are. And we trust that whatever we do in the dream is okay because we're okay. We're infinite. We'll survive this. So we can let our real self out. We can be what we are and not be afraid of the world. Not be afraid what people think or what people thought of us. We're reborn as spirit, not as a separate self. So that's how I interpreted the dog story. That because that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to be the love that I am every moment of Am I succeeding? Well, I'm doing better today than I did yesterday. Kind of thing. So I love that all your shares. And that's it.
Thank you. Oh, this is just what we needed this morning, I have a feeling. Really great. Michelle.
I just wanted to real quick add, I love the Layla metaphor for us because dogs are they don't judge circumstances. They don't judge themselves. They don't judge other dogs or us. We need to be more like Layla.
Yeah, it's true.
Dogs are awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, dogs
Thank
are.
you. Beautiful metaphor.
Thank you. Oh. So as you go around today, take a couple of minutes if it comes to you and just look around and say, I don't know what anything is for. Right? If
I just had this. Have any of you seen the movie Hook? It was out like 30 years ago. And it's a story of Peter Pan when he's an adult and he's so busy and keeps answering the phone and he gets abducted and taken back to Netherland. Is it Neverland? Neverland. Anyway, so when he's there and he's interacting with the lost boys, they don't recognize him anymore. They don't believe that he's really Peter until the way they are starts to get to him and he starts being more playful and he starts having fun with them and he starts trying to learn how to fly again. And there's this one point in the movie where this little lost boy goes up to Peter and he takes his face in his hand. He goes like this and he goes, "Oh, there you are. I see you." So I guess the reason I thought of this is that's kind of like the moment when you realize you're program A. It's like, oh, I remember who I am. And I've let all the cares of the world go. I don't have to answer the phone. I don't have to watch the news. I can just enjoy life in all its forms. And for me, I remember that more often. I can go, "Oh, there you are." If you haven't seen that movie, watch it. It's so much fun. But when I fully embrace whatever's happening, and I go, I told you my story. If you want me to suffer, I suffer. If you want me to have anxiety, I'll have anxiety right now. If you want me to be uncomfortable, I'll be uncomfortable. I don't know who I'm talking to, but then I remember, oh, there she is.
Thank you. We can all do that. There she is. Richard.
That'd be a great way to end the show today. I'm not sure I should share at this point. That was such a nice ending to the meeting. So I'm going to pass.
Okay.
Let's close on that note of being what we are in truth, because we know we're all love and truth. So if you're being who you really are, how can you be anything other than love, regardless of how it manifests? So
We'll see everybody in an hour. Is that right? Okay.